And I want to thank you all for coming to the Brian Celebrate. Probably the happiest guy that I knew, quite the dreamer, always optimistic about everything. But he did love trolling you and knew what you were very passionate about. So he was a great guy. I don't have a great speech prepared for Ryan to talk about. I got a lot of memories about him and crazy stuff that we used to do with our kids. I'm one of Ryan's childhood friends, and I've known him since the second grade. I used to live up in Newport Hills, right here. We used to ride skateboards, bicycles, all sorts of stupid stuff. Not trying to listen to the house. Fortunately, this was the county back then, and it was really a lot of this. So it made life a little simple. I think so what we're gonna do is we're gonna kick it off. Dan, Hannes, sorry. Yeah, he put together a nice little video presentation that starts here. And then we thought it'd be nice, we give everybody the opportunity if they want to come up and say something about Brian. Any memories you have of him, anything that you want to share with everybody else. I mean, feel free later on.
Yes, what's that thought? And every single person in the world here, I'll share a couple of photos, but smile. One of these has to come out. All right, I'll dump that to anybody on a celebration like this.
Yeah.
Okay.
We also have like a live Zoom going on for people that couldn't do it, so.
Another turning point, a fork stuck in the road. Time grabs you by the wrist, directs you where to go. So make the best of this test and don't ask why. It's not a question but a lesson learned in time. It's something unpredictable, but in the end is right. I hope you had the time of your life. So take the photographs and still frames in your mind, hanging on a shelf in good health and good time. Tattoos and memories and dead skin on trial. For what it's worth, it was worth all the while. It's something unpredictable, but in the end is right. I hope you had the time of your life. It's something unpredictable, but in the end it's right. I hope you had the time of your life. It's something unpredictable, but in the end is right. I hope you had the time of your life.
So, Karen, we're going to have a toast to Brian with someone saying their name.
You said a few minutes.
Give it a few minutes. Okay. Do you want me to make the speech while you're setting that up? Okay.
You'd like to hear something.
Sometimes it does.
It's so uncomfortable.
So, with permission from committees, I'm going to tell you about the first time I met Brian. So I went to college with Brian, and I think it was the beginning of '96. We were both poolside at our college apartments. And we're just hanging out there, and Brian and I just got to talking, and he says, "Hey, where are you from?" I said, "Oh, I'm from New York." "Where are you from?" "Oh, I'm from Seattle." And I sat there and said, "Yeah, hey, I have a grandmother who lives in the Seattle area." "No way, where?" And he's like, "Bellevue." "No way, I didn't Bellevue." And he's like, "Do you know what part of Bellevue?" I'm like, "I don't know much about Bellevue, but she lives somewhere where there's a Dairy Queen and there's some bar and a batting cage and YMCA." He's like, "No way, that's where I live." Keep in mind, I had never met Brian before, and I'm just from New York living in Arizona at a pool by coincidence. So I tell him, "Yeah, my grandmother lives somewhere like southeast 56th Street, someplace like that." "No way, I live on that road." My grandmother lived in a house right there. That's her house at the corner. So I've been coming out here since the mid-1980s, but I'm not from Washington. So we got to know each other, that day. Now, this is the part where I needed Bernice's permission. So he sits there and says, after a while down at the pool, "Hey, do you like to?" "Yeah. You have any?" I'm like, "No, but I know a guy. Let's go up to your apartment. You live here." I'm like, "Sure." So we go up to the apartment, and he calls some friend and brings somebody over, and we buy a little something that Brian and I really like at the time. And he divvies up the little bag, because we're going to split a little bag of something he really likes into two piles. And he gives just a little bit more to this side than this side. So I look at him and he shoves the one a little bit less for me, and I said, "I'll take that one right there." And at this point, you've got a little test yourself. You can either just accept a little bag, or you can do what Brian did. So Brian went and went, and did that laugh that everybody knows. And it starts taking a little bit from the smaller pile to the bigger pile to the smaller pile. And now he's making it even. And I turned to him and said, "Dude, I really like you, man. You're not person." A couple minutes later, I had a roommate who was from Lowell, Massachusetts, real opinionated. He'll tell you exactly what he thinks. He comes in, he's never met Brian before, too. We're sitting on the couch in our college apartment. We're kind of dipping up the bag, and he looks at both of us, kind of like, "Oh, man, you just met your best friend." And literally, no, that's probably true. Because Brian is the kind of person who, over a course of a lifetime, was your best friend. And there's some people in this room that know Brian, at a certain period of life, is your best friend. He's been Lee's best friend. He's been Massey's best friend. So let's see. Somewhere in there is MJ. Where's MJ's best friend? Your best friend?
Yeah.
Mark's best friend? There are a lot of people in this place today that have come here to remember Brian, and the thing you know most about him is that to me is my best friend, and it's true. Brian was my best friend too, and I miss him more than I could possibly say. But I'm glad we have today where we can celebrate him instead of just mourn him. This is a fantastic day. I'm having a fantastic time seeing all these people I've known for 25 years and some no ones too. I love Brian. I miss him, but he's always going to be here. God bless. Now, if there's anybody else that would like to take the microphone and tell a tale or two, I welcome you to take it right now. Would somebody else like to tell a story? Yeah. Look, there's like 60 of you, so there's got to be at least one of you that would like to tell. I think we got number one, wait, so right here.
Go for surprise.
All right, I hand out
Oh, this is loud enough for this, no mic or? Good. Mike. For this side of the room, who doesn't know me, my name is Jeff Joe Bryan. I met Brian, August of 1993. I think it's US freshman. I got there on a Friday and met him on a Monday. We just became as friends. I ended up joining this fraternity. He became my big brother in the fraternity. It's like called Pop Son. And so I spent just, ever since I met him, spent every day down there with him in ASU. I was only at ASU for a year because I was having too much fun studying the class. But a little bit due to Brian. Brian had his own place up in Scottsdale. And so instead of living in the dorms, the fraternity, I was up at his house at the time. And then even though I left ASU and we stayed in touch all the time, yeah, I've kind of visited him several times while he was still there. And I just have so many memories with him. He really was just one of my best friends I've ever had and will ever have. I have a younger brother, and God, it was 3.5 years older than me, and he really became like the older brother I never had. And like things I just miss him every day. I was talking with Lee last night. Our phones were so quiet now. With God and gone, he was a great texter. He just send jokes and trolling and memes and breaking news. And he was just he was a great trip planner. I took so many trips with him. With Eric, we did a thing for the Eclipse a couple years ago. We had it all planned out. We did a baseball trip to New York in 2008. That's where I met Dave for the first time. Had that just planned. It was just a place on the coast. He helped me with that place so much, whether it was remodeling, fixing up after a flood, dump runs, putting furniture together. I counted on him for so much. He put all the Ring cameras up in my house. He was so handy. Car problems, I counted on him and I just took advantage of him almost. That's how handy and kind he was. I paid him in pizza, things like that.
Such a good ego.
Yeah, you know, and we have a little ping pong group we play with, and so the last, gosh, I don't know, 6-7 years we hang out all the time playing pong in my backyard. But even before that, we played in the bar before COVID. Anyway, I just have so many memories, and I'm gonna miss him so dearly. And just so everyone knows what a thoughtful, kind, unselfish person he was. He was so giving to his friends and his family, and yeah, I'm just gonna miss him very dearly. So I love you, Brian. Yeah.
For those of you who don't know me, I'm Brian's nephew, Eric. And I just want to say thank you for all of you coming here. It's been so fun to meet all of Brian's friends. And everything I've heard from all of you guys is just how special of a person he was, that he was always happy, he was always kind, and you always had fun with him. And just shortly after the pass, we had a lot of friends come over and literally like 4 or 5 hours with us. It was a long time, and just hang out, chat, and it was really good. And we learned so much about how much all of you loved him, and I want to thank you for that. It's just a really amazing person. So thank you. And we'd love to hear stories. So just if you have any fun stories, come up and share something.
Does anybody else have anything? I can pull some time in, so you get some stories brewing out of you, right? Hey, one of the memories I have when Brian and I, we lived down the street, we basically lived about 100 yards down from me at the end of the block. And I always want to play with Brian. And I had 2 older brothers that kind of weren't really around. And then I had a sister, so, and you know, he's the only one who played doubles for so long. But I tried to harass Brian, get him to come play. I go down to his house, we play hoops, we play horse. And then once he was kind of done playing, he would always say, I gotta go watch the football. Hey, it's like, my sisters and I, we're gonna go watch Snowboat. So it's this big thing. I guess you really watched the Love Boat? I really wasn't that entertaining. We had a couple other friends that they didn't show up, Charlie Parker, we found Christian summer camp for the, I don't know if I can put this. It was that Christian summer camp, but,
Those are the best.
it was, we were, Charlie, Brian and I were kind of hooligans and, I don't know if anybody knows Charlie Parker, but he had a lot of energy. He was very, very, he had a lot of commentary on everything anymore. I don't know how to say it too politely, but not too mean, but we were screwed off and for some reason, I don't know why we got this, we had was a broom or something in the camp. And I don't know what we were doing with it, or why we ended up, we kept running around, we would poke each other with the broom. So you gotta realize this is middle school. So we're right in the prime of our puberty. So this broom became the horny broom. So we had run the horny broom. The stupidest thing ever, but whenever it talked to Charlie or Ryan, and we're bringing up like horny broom. Who else has anything? Sure, you got, somebody's got some stories that they got. There's too many. Kind of hard to follow that.
Our moms or sisters, they have Ross, actually, so that Ross. We spent, so many holidays, so much time together, just, Brian, of course, was being my brother and sister, and the main memories that I have with Brian is just massive football games downstairs. That was me and my brother versus Brian, and of course we're just these small tykes in Brian's 16, 17, 18, just like destroying us, not like little, just like tossing us into space, and we just feel like we're, oh my gosh. We had just massive just tackle fights that were completely one-sided, but still the most fun thing. But my favorite childhood memory of Brian was he convinced my parents that it was a great idea for him as I think like a 17-year-old, maybe 16-year-old, to take me and my older brother to a Mariners game. And I don't know if he actually told my parents this, but he was taking a girl on a date. He picked up my brother Will and I, and we're like super pumped up to go. We don't even realize that it's a date, and he's like in the car with us, ready to pick up this girl. He's like, "Okay, Ross, Will, this girl is like super hot, and I'm excited to like go with us to date. I need you to tell her that I'm like the most amazing cousin in the history of time, and that I'm like super helpful and like really involved in the community and like everything you could possibly expect and love about a cousin. I'm that cousin." And I remember they were just like, "Done. Let's do this." We were also super bribed because it was like a classic Mariners bat night, which not the small mini bats, but like the full like hit your brother in the face and goes to the hospital baseball bats. And we pick her up. And Will and I are in the back seat, just like expounding his virtues, and just like, "Oh, Brian, this is just one of the few things you've done this month that are just really amazing." And she's eating it up, and we're having a good time. And of course, we're like old school Kingdom, like 4 rows from the back, got our bats, and Will and I were just being wild and crazy and getting on the Jumbotron, just singing karaoke with our bats. And at the end of the night, he was dropping us off and then walked us to the door and was like, "You guys did a fantastic job." Checking will be later about it. Needless to say, it went over very well. Apparently, he had a nice little makeout section that late at night. I was like, oh, that is. But it was just one of those things that I always loved his when he knew you, he was a slightly loud, gregarious person, and then he always made you feel like you were seen and were part of something, and it was just really special just being part of it. So, thank you.
I was like 10. I don't know.
Anybody else?
All right. Hey everyone, I'm Pierce Wolfman. Eric and I grew up together. We've been friends since we were a really young age. And pretty awesome adventure that we went on. And Brian really loved Canyonlands. I think Eric and him went to Canyonlands once before I got us in on the fun. But Eric was touting to me how awesome it is. It's a wonderful time. Let's go out there with Brian and explore. And one of the draws, definitely for Brian, about Canyonlands is this guy named Aaron Ralston. And you might know him from the movie 127 Hours. He's the hiker who was in a slot canyon and got his arm caught under a rock and cut his own arm off with a Leatherman pocket knife. Brian loved that story, loved that movie. I think the grit, the resilience, being out there, he really identified with that. And he liked to show that slot canyon to Eric, myself, everyone, yeah. So he took us out there and we checked out that slot canyon, and that grew to the next leg of the adventure, which was the Dollhouse. And the Dollhouse is an amazing rock formation in the Canyonlands National Park. It has a bunch of spires, and it is really hard to get to. In fact, one of Brian's favorite quotes was, "More people climb Mount Everest every year than make it out to the Dollhouse."
It's fun facts.
Yeah. And so he's convinced. We had to go see what this was about. It was in Canyonlands, beautiful place. And we gave it a go, the three of us. I think the first time we tried to make it out there in my Ford Ranger, and there's this off-road trail, thin trail switchbacks, and it was way beyond what my truck was capable of. So we had to bag it. But we came back the next year. And the next year we knew we could do it in a 4x4. And so I think we brought backpacks.
Yeah, we're gonna hike down. Yeah.
So our plan was
We were to try to drag, but then we bailed on dragging those two rutted out, the switchbacks to get down.
So backup plan was to backpack. And the tough part about Canyonlands is the desert. You got to carry your water. So we were doing, Brian's really good at being prepared. You want to make sure we didn't get in trouble.
Yeah.
And it's like, all right, we'll literally fill all our backpacks with water, walk halfway, drop halfway, walk the rest of the way. Was way too ambitious. It was like a 20-mile hike in the desert that we were trucking this water in. So second year, we failed.
Yeah.
But we did see some neat things, the Cleopatra, right? A bunch of cool formations. But we went back to third year. Determination is definitely a key part of this story. Third year we came back, we said, you know what? We'll bring bicycles. We can't get out there with the truck. Too far to walk. We can totally bike, right? We bring out our mountain bikes and we set up at the top of the 4x4 trail. And we go down, and it's really hard to ride a mountain bike with that much water because you're still packing water. And at the end of the day, if we did make it to the Dollhouse, it's way above the Green River. So you're, getting water from the river is not very feasible. You need to come in fully self-sufficient and prepared. And so we tried, and we didn't make it very far on the mountain bikes. Or we realized that was definitely not going to work. And keep in mind, all these trips, wonderful adventures. We saw amazing rock formations. We went down dirt roads and looked at canyons. And we went to the Slot Canyon where the guy got stuck a couple of times. Every time. Ryan tried to talk us into rappelling off cliffs. We were laying out there in the desert, and I said, we'll maybe do that next time. So anyway, those were our iterations, and finally we decided we gotta make it. We've tried everything we can think of. Maybe we should spend a little bit of money on this next try. And so we drove into Moab, and we rented a full-blown 4x4 Jeep. Drove that Jeep from Moab all the way around to get in, and ultimately made it. It was really fun 4x4 trip, and the Dollhouse was absolutely spectacular. All these big spires, sandstone carved by the wind into like little space needle shapes. but hundreds of them. And it was a incredible trip, and with 4 or 5 years of trying, the success was an amazing feeling.
Yeah, it was worth it. And Brian spent probably like at least 30 minutes to an hour in the dollhouse by himself, because he'd been looking at this thing on Google Maps for ages. He'd been looking at it through binoculars for ages, every trip that we were there. And we finally made it, and I'm really happy that we did that.
Definitely.
Which COVID story?
So that wanted the photo.
Oh, yeah. So, this is when we were at like, okay, so another saying of Brian's was, when we were in like national parks or places that had more people, you'd be like, oh man, this is totally Disneyland right now. If there was like 2 people there, you'd like, it's just 2 new people, yeah. But, we were at the Disneyland area of this national park where you kind of overlook the rest of it. It's called the Eye of the Sky. And from there you can see the dollhouse, and we were out there looking there, and this European couple I think came up, and they were like, "Oh, can you take our photo?" And Brian was like, he did like a fake cough. Oh no, sorry, I have COVID. And then Pierce came up and took the photo. So yeah, he was not in photos. He was not into taking photos from people, and his favorite thing was to call crowded areas Disneyland.
Oh, I just wanted to hear. Hi, I'm Chanel. I'm one of his older sisters. And I'm not the most articulate, best storytelling person, but I'm gonna try. So bear with me. One of my favorite stories, Brian, does not involve me, so I have to tell you this. And does anyone here remember Alex Craig? Does everyone, do you remember that name? Okay. All right. So Alex Craig and his dad were the Boy Scout, or his dad, I'm sorry, was the Boy Scout leader, right? Were you in Boy Scouts? You were not. Okay. So Brian was in Alex Craig's Boy Scout troop, and Alex Craig's dad was the leader. And would you consider Alex Craig a Boy Scout? Okay, so Alex. Oh, I'm sorry.
There we go.
He was a nice guy, but he was the farthest thing from a Boy Scout. Okay. So, anyway, so I went to I was a Girl Scout. I went to Girl Scout camp when I was younger, and every minute was scheduled for you. When you wake up, when you go eat, when you go riding horses, whatever. And it was all, you're just very scheduled. And so one summer, Brian and Alex were going to go to Boy Scout camp, and Alex's dad sent off all the paperwork to go to this camp. Okay. So my parents take Brian, and Alex's parents take Alex, and they show them at Boy Scout camp. And was it for a week, Mom, or 2 weeks? 1 week. Okay. And so Alex and Brian had a cabin together, and they just had the best time. They just woke up when they wanted to, went to the mess hall and ate whenever they wanted to, went canoeing whenever they wanted to. So when Brian came home, he was like, "Oh, I had the best time." So my parents show up at the end of the week, and so does Alex Craig's parents, and they show up at the end of the week, and they have a little ceremony. Well, apparently some adult was supposed to go with them, and no adult went with them. And my dad loved this story. My dad, who passed away in 2023, Alex's dad, the troop leader, didn't realize like an adult was supposed to be with him the whole week. So they had all this freedom to do whatever they want. So there was the head guy, and then probably the VP guy. And the VP guy realized they didn't do any of their badges or anything they were supposed to do. And then the head guy kind of was just realized, they're like, "Where's your troop master, or whatever, I don't know what it's called, but Scoutmaster. And they're like, we don't have one. Like, oh my God, you've been here all week without any adults? So, anyway, I just said that was one of the best weeks of his life. They just had so much fun, and like some of the other troops with their leader kind of noticed, like, who are those two guys just running off doing whatever? But anyway, he had the best time. So I just wanted to tell you, I don't know why, because I went to Girl Scout camp and everything was scheduled. I would have loved that. So that was my story. And I love you, Brian.
My name is Gina, and I grew up with friends with Karen since kindergarten. So I was always in the group of like the little sisters' friends. So to me, Brian was kind of like a big brother. And my memories of Brian were that he was really cool. But he was also really mean. Like Brian and I would get in on like fist fights, like a sibling would. So I feel like I was like one of the Gada children. I can remember sitting at the table, like playing games, like board games, and Brian would, get mad about something, and he and I would like literally get in a fight. We're both feisty Italians, so we can't help it. But yes, I'm just representing a group of Karen's friends, and Brian was like an honorary big brother to all of us. So I have very fond memories of him driving us around, not because he wanted to, but because Bernice made him do it. And like the little Toyota pickup, like I can remember like Karen and Brian and I like crammed in the cab with the stick shift Toyota pickup. I mean, he would begrudgingly take us to like dance practice or something that Bernice made him do. But he was a wonderful guy, and I didn't really get a chance to know him as an adult, but he also had an amazing hairline, like for a impressive, very impressive, right?
So everyone knows who I am, but some people know me as MJ. And Brian and I know the other MJ. The other MJ. Brian and I were high school friends. We lived together for a number of years. He was one of the easiest roommates, especially being married now.
Yeah.
No, closer to Eric. No, closer to Eric, maybe. Yeah.
So he was one of the best roommates, especially being married. You really value easygoing types of, types of, we have a lot of, I actually wrote something down here, so, because how do you can remember everything. So, I wrote down a couple of words, or a bunch of words that actually remind me of Brian, and might trigger anyone out there, anyway, so I was gonna say. Complimentary, non-confrontational, right arm brother, German version, trivia whiz, easygoing, Stevos, Arnett's, Sobe, with him when he was drinking Sobe for a while, American Spirit, is goofy, he was an instigator, yeah. But a kind spirit, so for anyone that actually knows or at least got a wing conversation, he was really, really good at making you feel valuable. He was always curious to try and understand. And conversation really, it was very, very apparent that he really cared about his things. Whether you agree with you or not, it really makes you feel valued. Yeah. And that was something that I think a gift that Brian did, and one of the reasons that there's so many people out there that love that. We had our share of disagreements over the years. That was, it was, hard to stay angry because he was just a kind spirit, gentle soul, and Brian was the pure definition of keep on keeping on, right? I have tons of stories, and I'm gonna share all of them here. I'll get into one, but this is actually one that really said a lot about Brian. Brian didn't golf very much, and we went to golfing together. And on the 17th, Oscar and was like that. So really, really tight golf course, and it's like it was pushed together. Brian got up to the tee box and jammed one, and he hit someone actually 90 degrees behind both. Yeah, that's 90 degrees behind him. Someone was like physically impossible. And Brian was beside himself. He was so that he just didn't want to hurt. And I had to actually go over and take, I'm not fake. Like I'm going over and I'm making this English worse and I'm laughing. And this person wasn't really hurt that bad. But Brian, because he was just a gentle soul, he was sick to his stomach that he had hurt someone. And I don't think he'd actually ever really thought of it. I think that was the last time he swung though. It was just because that's who he was. It just kind of wasn't very good. Yeah. Almost 20 minutes. Yeah. So yeah, Brian and I had a number of existential conversations. Younger, older was fine. And pondered the universe. While watching SportsCenter or smoking a cigarette next to the campfire, hiking. Usually I actually have a cigarette, even when we're hiking. Every once in a while I would have one when we got to where we're going. But he had one going pretty much. Brian was, we were pretty much aligned, at least for years, life and death. And Brian also landed the theory of I don't know if somebody people have to understand energy and conservation, but Brian didn't actually use that term, but our energy simply transforms and returns to the universe. And Brian felt it. I'm not sure if Brian was aware that this theory is based on that energy can't be created or lost. Anyway, this belief doesn't make us miss or miss us because the universe took him back too soon. And yeah, you should all, at least I come to convert today that it's there's more positive energy that's been redistributed through the universe. Yeah, we should do
I am Brian's nephew also.
What's your name?
Hi. You should know this, you're my mother.
I know.
So one Christmas, he gave me a Millennium Falcon, or he said, or you can have $100. He's like, and I was like, I'll take the Millennium Falcon. And he said it would be worth millions one day. And I still had it sealed in the box on that shop.
I have mine too. Yeah, there's something else. All right, I think, nobody else wants to say anything, we're gonna have a little toast to Brian.
Don't worry, I'm just keeping it perfect.
It's not while you're talking.
Karen wanted you all to know that not everything is equal. You are either going to have a Coca-Cola or you're going to have nice coffee. So I hope you're not particular. Okay, I haven't thought of a toast yet, so this one is actually on the fly. With all that was said, I agree. For everything that was right, I agree. And I think we can all not only acknowledge him, but agree with everyone here that this is one of the good ones. We lost one of the good ones, but he's always gonna be here because we always get to remember him. I love you, brother, and this one is to you. Got the coffee.
I got the Coke.
I'm gonna turn this one off now. I guess first amongst the stone.